All right, so after my little Cahill Park discovery, not really discovery because it was well known by a lot of players already, and I knew that, but I just hadn't realized it yet, and that's why I decided to share it. I thought it was fun. But after doing that, I checked out the Mapping the Valley link on the Global Valley Disc Golf page of Greg Guthrie's, and I'll link a description of that here or I'll link that in the description in this video. So check that out. I had an awesome time just going through and seeing all the different ways that the different courses and holes of the courses intertwine with each other. So check that out. But he hasn't done Pioneer Bay yet. So I figured it'd be fun to put together some videos on Pioneer Bay and how the different holes interact with each other. Some of them are pretty obvious, but we're going to get to the first 3 holes and show you kind of how they are intertwined on the same map. So starting with Pioneer Bay 3, you guys know this hole. So this middle island that we basically use for all the first 3 holes of Pioneer Bay, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to point that out here to you. So when you're playing all 3, sometimes before water skip especially, you play this right side. And basically once you get over here, you're going to realize it looks pretty familiar. And this is basically where you tee off for hole number 2 of Pioneer Bay. So we're going to go ahead. We're on hole 3, but we're going to play as if we're playing Pioneer Bay 2. You can see this looks familiar. You can either go the left side or the right side of the trees or right up the middle. I usually always play this right side. And again, this one's really obvious. I'm sure pretty much everyone knows about this one, but I just wanted to kind of highlight it and point it out exactly kind of where the holes are laid out. And then from here, you kind of go over here to where the basket is kind of perched up on top, as if you're playing Pioneer Bay hole number 2. Like so. Obviously you can't see the basket up there, but this is where the basket and all the rocks and stuff would be. And then going back to kind of the end of hole number 3, where obviously the basket is right now because that's what hole we're on. So we're going to throw it over here. And this is basically where you kind of tee off for Pioneer Bay hole number 1. So we're going to turn around, flip it around, and then this is basically going to be as if we are playing hole number 1 of Pioneer Bay. So you can see this middle island is basically part of all the holes. And just kind of interesting how these first 3 holes are intertwined. So this is kind of the typical play somewhere just over that first little hill. And then from here, you notice kind of all the umbrellas are on the other side. When you're actually playing PB1, the umbrellas are way over on the left, but here they're on the right. And obviously the basket's not going to be up here, and we're going to be OB, but this is about where the basket is, a little left of this. So that's hole 1. So just kind of interesting how the first 3 holes of Pioneer Bay are intertwined, and that middle island's kind of the center point of all 3 holes. And we'll just take a quick look at the maps just to kind of emphasize that. Little mini maps, you can see I've oriented the middle island in the same direction. You can see the red is the tee box, and the green is the basket of each of the holes. So kind of interesting, those first few holes. And then I'll show you kind of the rest of the Pioneer Bay holes and which ones are kind of on the same map. So hopefully you find this enjoyable. I definitely find it interesting. Again, this is one of the more obvious ones, just not something that's kind of been put into a map yet. So there you go.